everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's on the Tube, or welcome back if this is your 10th Rookie Season 3 episode review. I believe I've had a very rough week, because last week, all of the reviews, I legit thought it was this week's numbering system. When in reality, I made a mistake. So I apologize if, this is a bit of like a weird, like, wait, did you say that last week was the 10th episode? This week's the 10th episode again? Like, no. So last week was the 9th episode. This week's the 10th episode. Actually, I have it here on my files. I'm a little bit of a rush today for weird reasons. Yeah, this is the 10th episode. This week, this episode felt like a full circle type of thing, where last week I felt like it was the ending of chapters, ending of a chapter for the rookie in terms of like, for Chen and for West as they finally wrapped up their rookie training. And now going forward into this episode, we're starting to explore that new dynamic of like, hey, they're not rookies anymore, but Nolan's still a rookie. And even right off the bat, they played with that aspect of like, oh, hey, Nolan's still a rookie, but he's still got like 30 days to go. So, but I was really surprised, and I think this is probably one of the best episodes of The Rookie. It's more low-key. It's not anything super dramatic, but definitely the residents and definitely the story they were trying to tell definitely makes it feel like this was something that we were kind of coming back full circle around. So there you go. Also, I apologize if I'm just leaning back and forth this episode. Something's going on in my life. I can't really talk about it right now, so I'm a little bit on edge, but that's not going to stop me from doing another damn great review. You know what I'm saying, guys? You know what I'm saying? Also, if you're wondering, why do I have a hat? Why do I have glasses on? I can't talk about it yet. But anyway, let's get down to it. Let's go for the butchered recap and talk about this week's episode of The Rookie. So we begin, weirdly enough, with a montage. Well, not a montage. It was actually an old video that was created when Nolan, Chen, and Wes were just graduating from the police academy. Which I remember back when they were talking during season 1 promotion that they were never going to touch upon the academy days, because that doesn't really have any sort of impact on what the story they're trying to tell. Like, yeah, that was the way they got introduced to each other. We just needed a reference or two, and then there you go. We moved on from there. We actually got to see little snippets of their friendship, their time in the academy, and I really did enjoy it since, like, it reminds us back of the Rookie days where, like, hey, nothing bad has happened yet to these people. These are like purely innocent people. Well, mostly innocent. I'm assuming adulthood has thrown them a bone or two. I'm also very surprised at how very quick these three became friends, as I think they were the first segment of the video, which was just starting out them in the academy. And it's also very weird that they were even allowed cell phones, because I think normally you're not allowed to have cell phones when you're in an academy because they want you to focus on the training. So I'm not sure if this was like, I don't know what it was. But it was very fun to see their dynamic and see how much has changed from that time period to now where we are today. And also we got a little bit of a sneak peek of their graduation ceremony. And I'm not entirely sure, because I distinctly remember back in 2019 I follow the Rookie actors on Instagram, and the actress who plays Chen, she posted that there was a deleted scene where they filmed part of the graduation ceremony. So I was wondering, like, is this from the graduation ceremony scene that we never got to see? Because, again, also another thing that maybe squeals, like, Captain Mercedes, I believe that was her name. Actually, I don't think it was Mercedes. I think it was something else. The original captain actually came back. And I was like, oh my God, I missed her, because like she got killed off in like midway through season 1. I'm like, oh my God, I missed her so much. And then, and I was like thinking like, oh, probably, and plus the crowd size. I'm like, I'm pretty sure this was filmed like back in season 1, so this was like really pre-COVID. But it was nice actually for them to recycle that footage into the episode and to give her like another appearance, But I'm pretty sure that was not filmed during season 3. That was filmed back in season 1. And we cut back to Nolan's house. The three are viewing it. I think this is just them meeting up before work, or maybe on their day off. I'm not really sure. Nolan is, once again, they're trying to celebrate that, hey, we're not rookies anymore. We're P2s. And Nolan's like, well, I still got 30 more days. And even they joked around, like, until you become a P2, don't talk to us. Oh, I love this dynamic so much. And then we get another surprise, another returning face, which we haven't seen from season 1. Ben, the Nolan's best friend who let him crash at his place for like the entirety of season 1. That was so cool that he actually got to come back, and I missed him so much. I missed this dynamic. Like he's just the brash rich dude who has like a little bit of a good heart. I missed him so much. I don't remember why they removed him in season 2. I think maybe it was just a story reason. I'm not really sure, but it was nice to see him. It's nice to see him again, and he's back for a reason. He's back in town because he's been traveling all over the world. So I'm assuming maybe he just sold his house, and Nolan was like, okay, you gotta start finding your own place or something. I really don't know what the reason was. They never explained it in show. So he's there because he remembered like, oh, today would be your first day as a P2. But obviously, of course, I'm assuming that Nolan didn't catch him up on the events of the last few months. So, which is kind of weird because like they're best friends, but I'm like Nolan never gave him a phone call saying, oh hey, I hooked up with my ex-girlfriend briefly, and then also this other police officer tried to frame me for murder and for being a mole. That would have, I honestly felt it was kind of funny, like, but no one just simplified by saying like, I just broke the rules, and it's like, wow, you are really undersimplifying the events of season 2 and 3. I mean, no one, come on. So yeah, when he's there, he brings a bottle of wine to celebrate. He's like, you know what, whatever. And also he does mention that Henry is going to be stopping by soon, or Henry, he's there for Henry, and no one's confused, like, what about Henry? And he's like, oh, he didn't tell you? He's like, well, I'll let you figure that out yourself. I'm going to enjoy this bottle of wine. And then we cut back to the station where West and Chen are celebrating their first days SP2s. They're kind of expecting this like minor ceremony to kind of welcome them to the fold as proper non-rookies anymore, and they're just trying to get ready for that. And we actually get to go back to the bullpen. Well, we actually go back for a morning meeting, sort of. It's not a proper morning meeting. It's definitely just like a hyphenated version because there was a little bit less people. The doors were open than usual. But I miss these dynamics. I miss these scenes so much. I guess they're trying to get a little bit more comfortable with, COVID regulations, and like, they could be able to film a couple of bullpen scenes there and there. And I thought this was really necessary, and I really hope we do get to come back by the time Nolan is out of the rookie program too. So yeah, there you go. So nothing really major. No, West and Chen make a fool out of themselves because when West calls Officer Commander Gray calls their name, they're expecting like this big victory ceremony, and it's like, no, you just got your, don't expect much treatment, and they kind of get embarrassed there. So then we get split up to the storylines. We're gonna go for Bradford and Lopez, their storyline this week, because what is Bradford doing? Because I remember like back in season 2, like before everything happened with COVID and all the changes and such, I did distinctly remember Bradford did say once he's done with Chen, he was going to move to New York to be with his girlfriend, which ironically we have never referred to her at all during season 3. Like a lot of things we kind of just skip over because of COVID. So we don't know what's going on with Bradford right now. It seems like he's still working. Is this his day off? I initially felt like he just officially left, and then he's just enjoying his time, not as a cop anymore for the time being, but no, he's just has a day off. He's walking his dog, and he's like, he misses Chen. He does miss Chen. I could tell in his eyes, like, not having a boot anymore like Chen is definitely getting to him. But he gets a call from Lopez telling him to come to this bridal shop ASAP. He's initially confused by it, so he heads over, and Lopez is alone. He's like, where's your bridesmaids? This is supposed to be the day you're going to pick out your wedding dress. But it turns out, no. So what happened was Lopez fired all of her bridesmaids because they were all contradicting her vision for the wedding, since because she's pregnant too, so she has to get a wedding dress that's kind of like, adjustable for her baby belly. And of course, obviously, she also is sad because, as well as Wesley's mother is also trying to take over the wedding. So like basically her opinion doesn't really matter anymore because everyone has to accommodate for Patrice, her mother, her future mother-in-law, as well as her having a baby. So a lot is being sacrificed. She's just having enough. And Bradford, being the straight and honest direct man he is, he just tells her like, look, your opinion matters. Just do what you want. This is your wedding. And I'm like, Bradford may be a dick at times, but he knows what to say. He's straight. He reminds me of my friend. So Bradford basically just tags along, becomes the bridesmaid. He approves the dress. He also gets a brief crossover with Lucy and Wes's storyline, where like they're trying to stop this like bridal dress fight. And I'm like, thank God I'm not getting married at least maybe another decade. And probably I won't have any involvement in this selection of process. So I'm thankful I'll probably never be a part of this. So then later on, they go back to her house, and Lopez is again still feeling miffed since like she's trying out all these foods that she likes, but the problem is that Patricia's probably going to override her decisions at the end of the day. And Bradford again tells her like, it is your wedding. If you want to have tres leches, you can have tres leches. You don't have to compromise anything just for the sake of appeasing her. And then Lopez hearing all that, it's like, you know what? Bradford, you're going to be my man of honor. And I'm just thinking, yeah, Bradford, the man of honor? Fuck yeah. That's a cool ass title. Even Bradford's like, isn't that meant to be a woman thing? And it's like, and she's like, no, I'm just making, no, this is a thing now. You're the man of honor, and he accepts. But the next day, he's back. They're both back to work, and Lopez again coordinates him like to make sure he's still going to do his man of honor duties, which his first responsibility is to fire the previous maid of honor. And Bradford does not want to do this since again this is not his wedding, and he doesn't believe that he should be the one to kick out the other one, but he's forcefully going to do it. And thankfully, the maid of honor is there. And she takes it rather calmly, actually happily, because she was getting stressed out with the whole Patrice thing and dealing with all these checks and balances and all the improvements they need to do to plan out this wedding. She's like, good luck. And Patrice even gives her a bridal cell phone just meant for this wedding. And it just keeps popping off. And I'm just thinking, damn. Like, damn. So later on, so Bradford, their involvement in this episode is like not that great, not that great, not that long, because like their last scene together is Bradford just telling her like, I'm burning everything Patrice sent you. From now on, this is your wedding. Just do what you want. And it's honestly an empowering moment since like Bradford is now looking for something to do now that Chen is not his boot anymore. And I think this is definitely something he's going to be able to explore and, do now that he's not a TO anymore for the time being. And this is good for Lopez too. This is really good to actually start really building out their trust even more. It is a bit fishy that they didn't invite Bishop. If you don't know who that is, it was the Nolan's original TO to do that. It seemed like they had a really good dynamic, so I'm not really sure why they couldn't call her up. I know obviously with everything with the controversies, if anyone forgot about this back in the day, like I'm pretty sure that's prohibiting her from coming back, or she doesn't want to come back. But it's like it's not like we could have just had another throwaway line saying, "Oh, she's just very busy." Like that would have been just a serviceable answer. Like I know. I mean, considering the fact they brought back 2 characters from season 1 into this episode, it would have been fine to just mention a third one. In my opinion, that was my only gripe, but like whatever, I'll let it pass. Back to West and Chen, so they're riding along together since even though technically Gray would assign them to another veteran P2 or a veteran cop so that they can start to see things like a little bit more loosely. They're like, you know what, you two are good enough. Just ride together for the time being. You should be fine. And they're kind of like really taking advantage of the fact like there's no more boots, there's no more TO relationship. It's just like they are now official cops. And they get to do whatever they want. Not in that way, just like they get to put the AC on in the car, they get to choose the music station, and it's just like they're living the life. And their first on-call assignment was to protect a chocolate bar. Because it's supposedly evidence for a crime scene. And this is what they were working to, ladies and gentlemen. And their job is to preserve this candy bar until evidence collection comes to pick it up. And they're immediately not happy. They really are not. And I don't know what to say any more than that. I do believe that... And what's funny is that also the detective that works with Lopez makes an appearance. The son just interacting with them and Nolan and Harper in a bit. And it turns out they found the suspect. He's already arrested, and they like, you can just throw away the chocolate bar. It means nothing to us anymore. And then they get called over to the bridal dress incident, and then that kind of ends up their first day, just kind of like just being used for like meaningless duty, which is not really what they want. But they get to celebrate that night since their parents respectfully are taking them out to dinner to celebrate the fact that, hey, they're officially cops now. The training period is over. Now they're officially going stable footing into their future careers. Obviously, West, coming from a police family, is going to freaking party all night long, and Chen is a little bit more hopeful that her parents are finally starting to turn around on the fact that she's a cop now. Maybe they're going to prove to her that, yeah, it is a valid career choice, we're proud of you, and you keep doing what you do. And only her mother shows up at the dinner. Her dad had a book club. which is kind of really insultful since Chen did all that and, she still gets nothing for her credit. Weird. And then it turns out that the dinner actually has a bigger purpose. It turns out that the mother is like, hey, it's great. You finished your training year. You did it. You showed us that you could do it. That's great. But it's time for you to go back to school, get your master's, get a real job. And Chen feels insulted by this since... and this is actually kind of fucked up too, because now that I think about it, they know what Chen's been through on her year of training. They know what happened to her, and they still think like, this is not a profession. I'm like, she nearly died so many times in her first year as a rookie, and you're still saying like it's not a profession? That's bullshit. It really is bullshit because, you should be supporting what your child wants to do. I mean, I don't have children yet, and I won't have to have those conversations until like at least another 20 years or so. But I would support anything my children want to do. I'm like, if Chen is happy being a cop and they don't care, her parents don't care, they just expect her to like make a lot of money and have a good job. Who cares about that anymore? Like, yes, earning money is important. I get that. Having a good reputation is important. But you need to be happy at what you're doing. If you're not happy at all, then what the hell are you doing? You're not. You should just do something else. So in that case, Chen kicks out her mom, and obviously she feels really, really saddened about it. The next day she tries to hide it from West, and then there's just and then we get to the crossover part with Nolan and Harper's story, so we'll get through that now. So for Nolan and Harper, now that Nolan's still a rookie for 30 more days, it's business as usual. Nothing changes for Nolan. And then their first call of the day is a bank robbery. Again, this is just like I said before with Wes and Chen's story. Like the story's coming full circle somewhat, especially with this episode. As remember, the first thing Nolan experienced that eventually led him on the path to becoming a cop was the bank robbery back in the pilot. And this is definitely a callback to it, as he's now back in that position, this time wrapping up his rookie career. So it's like, it's been a long 2 years, well, almost 2 years for him. So now he's just thinking, okay, I could do this again. Like, and he was even about to tell the story to the guy with the gun. And it's like, hey, look, about 2 years ago, I was ironically in another bank robbery. Not a cop at the time, but I was, in similar position here. And he was thankfully once again Nolanizing through him, and, I was about to let him drop his gun and give up the day. But the security guard shoots him because he was afraid that he was going to shoot them back, which was a big no-no because it turns out the gun that the robber had was a fake. Well, not a fake. It didn't have any bullets in it. So obviously Nolan is distraught that he failed to get through to him. He should have took care of the security officer first. That sort of thing. They're tasked to follow up to try and find the wife and kids, see if they know anything about the robbery, what the motivation was. They get to the house and it turns out they're not there. The wife and daughter are not there, and so now they're worried what happened. The place looked like it just been up and abandoned. So there's even more questions now. But it's the end of shift, so Nolan and Harper pass on the case to the detectives so they can take over from here. But this is Nolan we're talking about. He's not gonna let things go that easily. Also we get a call between Nolan and Henry early on via FaceTime. Again, trying to compromise with COVID. I'm pretty sure the actor could not get that far. Excuse me one moment. So sad to say, I do not have much of a place to be at it right now. I'm at a weird room in my house, so I apologize for the switch in quality and angles. Something happened to me last night when I was recording, so I had to step away from the show to go handle that. I apologize, but we're still going to continue the review. So that being said, let's pick up where we left off. So Henry calls in. It turns out that he dropped out of college, similar to what Nolan did. But however, unlike Nolan, who was dealing with his impending son's birth, he had the reason why Henry left school is that Ben, as we just got reintroduced to in this episode, offered him a job. Well, not offered him a job, he's giving him a job, a very well-paying job, right in between college, and considering the fact that Henry is still getting married and he took the job, which is not sitting well with Nolan, since Nolan, being a parent, would have preferred for him to finish his college education and to explore his life further. So what happened was that night, Nolan's about to go out for dinner with Ben, but he can't let that go. The fact that Ben just immediately just let him
just quit school and let him do all that. And, it's not sitting well with Nolan at all. And, eventually Nolan just loses his appetite and just cancels dinner. Meanwhile, on Harper's side of things, she is going on a camping trip with her daughter and a bunch of other kids her age, as well as the guy that she was kind of the other dad she was flirting with like a while back. But apparently since that episode aired, they canceled multiple dates because Harper's life and then eventually him just having to cancel too. So they haven't got an official date yet. So she thought this was going to be really, really awkward, but it turns out now it was all a big misunderstanding. And that's why, kids, you need to learn the proper value of communication, because if you don't, then it's gonna end you well. It's not gonna end well. But thankfully, he understood that, and then they managed to fix things out, and they managed to be able to just have a semi date at the campsite, which is pretty awkward, but whatever, with kids around. I mean, not really a good place to have a first date. So the next day, Nolan wakes up early, heads to work, and turns out that he's doing more research on the case. Even though Harper said it's not your matter anymore, we transfer the case over to the detectives. But Nolan managed to get permission from the detective on file. Like, yeah, you can go do some interviews, stuff like that, because they're still looking for the wife, and the wife works at the Diamond District, a very luxurious area that could be potential for robbing. So, because there would just happen, they're a little bit on edge on that. So they head off to try and get some answers, try to get something. And Harper just goes to get coffee because she's frankly tired of BS. And then, conveniently enough, so I forgot to mention, there was a pizza van parked out front of the bank from yesterday, and the same van is pulling up on this spot. So they're thinking this might be the same people, and unsurprisingly, the wife comes out very tired, very very zoned out. And yeah, so it turns out she's there to rob the place too. Rob her workplace of the jewels, since from what we understand from the chain of events that they mentioned, because no one mentioned as well, he was about to convince Harper that, like, hey, this might be bigger than we thought. Was that the theory was that this couple was broke. They had 2 mortgages, a lot of money into debt, and sadly, someone tried to break into their house thinking there was money there, but there wasn't, considering the fact they don't want to go to jail and they want to risk it. They took them hostage so that they could potentially get the money for them. But no, turns out now that because the guy died, now the wife has to go and get the money, otherwise their daughter dies. Nolan thankfully manages to intercept them and intercept her before she goes up any further. So they're trying to figure out. So they have to get the kid first before they do anything, because of the guys have a third guy waiting with the daughter, and if she doesn't get the money, then they're gonna kill her. So this is where West and Chen come in. They come in to intercept and try to have to find a kid. And thankfully, between everyone wasting time, and then also West and Chen showing that they are ready to become P2s, ready to become real cops on their own fashion, it was enough to save them and find the girl, and thankfully get her to safety, and was managed to pull the final arrest, which is enough to save the day. So thankfully everything worked out fine. West and Chen are reuniting the daughter with her mother, and they just see in the distance, and Gray also calls him in, saying that this is not usually the most luxurious time periods. Like, even if when you're out of becoming a rookie, you're not immediately thrown into the biggest jobs in the world. You're not thrown into the luxurious details. But today proved that, like, hey, y'all still got what it takes to be cops. That's great. And also the good for you. And also the whole ceremony thing you get when you're finally out of the woodwork or being promoted is just bullshit. All that sort. And but however, Gray still commends them for their work early on in their P2 careers with saving a daughter, as well as reminding Chen, her job does mean something. She does like being a cop, and she wants to keep doing it for the rest of her life. So Gray decides to nominate them for the Distinguished Service Medal Award, which is great. It's honestly great. It's a great thing for them to get. So kind of just reinvigorates them that, hey, we're still doing the right thing. We're still doing the right motives here. And I believe, we get a scene where Harper is about to head out for a date. Nolan just says, give it a chance. It may be your first date out of your divorce, but hey, you never know where it's gonna go. So just do the date, and then hopefully nothing bad happens. And they go off on that way. And as for Nolan, that's the last name. Wes knew something was up with Chen, so he called her mom, and yeah, her mom basically just spilled the beans of like, yeah, I don't support her being a cop. Still, I don't think she should be a cop. And Wes just said like, look, if you don't apologize to her right now, you're not invited in this apartment anymore. So whether or not she'll call, we'll find out. We'll find out what happens. And Wes decides to make it up to Chan by inviting her out for sushi to kind of like just make up for her victory ceremonial dinner. So they're really good friends. They're really good. I honestly really like their dynamic a lot. And then finally, Nolan visits Ben at his office, and he apologizes for his rudeness and his reaction towards everything that happened. And Ben forgives him immediately because they are best friends. And Ben admits that he didn't just hand over Henry the job; he had to beg for it. So Henry knew for a while that like, yeah, this was, college was probably not something he wanted to do, since again he's about to get married, so he wants to support him and his wife, so he needs like some sort of bigger income, which makes sense. It does make sense. I don't think it's smart to get married while you're in college. You're still figuring out your own. You're still trying to figure out what type of person you want to be. So, but Henry seems to be, he wants to work hard, make his money, and I think all the power to him. Nolan says that the reason why he was mad is that Nolan wanted him to kind of go through what he did for before, but also want him to not do what he did before. And it's a bit of a weird act to compromise. And on the same hand, yeah, Nolan wants him to like be better than him, but he also wants him to kind of deal with the same choices he makes. But Henry's going to be his own thing. He's going to be his own man, and all Nolan could do is just still be the supportive dad that he is, and tells Ben just to keep an eye on for him, which he clearly does, and to finally have like just a bro chat. Finally, Nolan's gonna catch him up on the last two seasons of the show, and the first question is like, oh, is your professor hot? And he's like, oh, she is, and I'm like, I don't know what's about Nolan. Like, Nolan just attracts the people. He just does. I don't know. And the episode ends with just them catching up, and yeah. Again, I really like this episode. I think it's one of the best episodes of the show so far. Even though it's very simple, it just reminds you of the core of the show and where these characters are coming from. I love the direction we're going now, since like now that he's not a PO anymore, this is probably going to eat up the rest of his time for the rest of the season. With the wedding coming up, I don't think we'll get to the wedding this season. I don't think so. I mean, we might. I mean, we'll see. I don't know how many episodes this season has. They haven't confirmed it yet. We are up to number 10 now, so it could be 20, it could be 18. Like, I don't really know. COVID has really changed the plans up a bit, so I really don't know where things are going now, in terms of like what the next direction is. But I'm really happy to see that he has some sort of new direction, and whether or not we will refer back to his girlfriend in New York, we'll see about that. I'm happy West and Chen did manage to get on a good footing with their first days as T2s. Not sure where they're gonna go next with that though, because now that they're not rookies anymore, we're mainly following Nolan's journey as a rookie. So we'll see how things go. We'll see how things go. And as for Nolan himself, like, yeah, it was really nice to see the captain and Ben again. It was really nice. It was really much of a great callback to season 1, and just reminds us that how much the journey have we come for so far, and how much more of the journey we hopefully will have still left to go on the show. So with that being said, I give this episode 2 thumbs up. Sadly not going to show 2 thumbs up because my one hand is covered by the camera. So I think that's going to do it for me this morning, because I got to get this review up before I go to work. So it was a very long night for me. I'll explain it on a podcast someday. But until then, this has been What's on the Tube from ActionX, reviewing every episode of the 3rd season of The Rookie. If you want to know what we're doing overall, What's on the Tube besides our rookie reviews, we are doing Nancy Drew season 2 reviews each and every Thursday morning after a brand new episode on Wednesday nights on the CW, or free the next day on the CW app. We're also doing Walker episode reviews each and every Friday morning after a brand new episode on Thursday nights on the CW, or free the next day on the CW app. But if you only care about The Rookie, you're in luck. We will be back next week, hopefully back on our normal setup. I mean, I'm sorry, and also I apologize that I have my hair's a mess and I didn't feel like combing today, so I apologize for that. But until then, Again, please subscribe to ActionX for What's on the Tube on youtube.com/ActionX. Ring that bell for notification when our next rookie review is live, which is each and every Monday morning. Like, favorite, share this review if you want to, but it does help us get us out there to other members of the Rookie Nation, as well as be aware this is not normally our usual setup. Just stuff happened. Also, sharing is for free. Follow us on social media to stay up to date with any updates for the channel. But until then, for all you members of the Rookie Nation, I hope you are all staying well, being good out there. Let me know in the comments below, what did you think of this week's episode of The Rookie? Again, as always, I am always open to conversation down below. But until next time, stay safe out there, be good to each other, and peace out.